Thanks for checking in the Pivoting to Web3 podcast. Go to pivotingtoweb3podcast.com to download and listen, or Web3 Game Plan to check out the videos. Thank you. We're shaping tomorrow together. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited to be here today. I have a guest that I have been wanting to talk to because I was in their training class and I was just very, very impressed. Very impressed on the presentation, the content, and all the information he provided. And I really liked the robot in the suit. I mean, I just couldn't do anything more than just keep looking at the guy in the suit that was the robot, because I had never seen anything like that before. And the gentleman I'm about to introduce to you all is Anthony DeSimone. And Anthony DeSimone does Chat GPT PhD. That's right, I said PhD. And he has accelerated programs. He's well into the AI. He's doing a lot in the business area. Anthony, I welcome you to Pivoting to Web3 podcast. So Anthony, say hello to your audience and mine and tell us everything we need to know, especially how did you get to being in AI with Chat GPT?
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. Well, my background, I'm a CPA, and I help businesses just improve profitability. I mean, it's as simple as that. As I'm working with small business owners, and I'm helping them improve profitability. And a lot of people have asked that question. You know, how does the CPA end up focusing on ChatGPT and generative AI and all that? And basically, if you distill down improving profitability in any business, in any industry, of any company of any size, you got to do three things. You're distilling it down to three things. Either you're increasing sales, you're decreasing expenses, or you're increasing efficiency. Everything you do is going to distill to one of those three. ChatGPT checks all of those boxes. So it was just logical for me to get into it right from the beginning. ChatGPT was born November 30th, 2022. I got into that beta testing on December 1st, 2022, wow. And I never looked back. And it certainly can improve top line. It can improve decreasing expenses, and then it can improve efficiency. So it is clicking all those boxes, and it's getting more powerful by the day. They keep increasing the ability of it, as well as adding new features. They just had an update yesterday, which is improving the use for the free version, which is now just taking it to a whole new level. I mean, it is incredible at how fast this generative AI is evolving, and it's not going to stop. I mean, one of the sayings that I am constantly telling people, because they need to hear this, is that ChatGPT will not replace you, but the people who use it will. And that's a fact, you know, especially if you have a more computer-based type of job. Mm-hmm. If it's computer-based, it will be replaced eventually with this generative AI, because it's made to do whatever it is that's on the computer, and eventually it's just going to learn and train faster than you. So the best thing that anybody can do at this moment is to begin to learn how to use it so that you could be the best in your field. It's early. It's really early, Donna. So that's what I, suggest, at least initially, is everybody needs to sign up for an account, get a free account, and start using it, because that's where you begin.
Well, thank you so much about that. So let me ask you this. For those in the audience, because this is kind of an educational program too, for those in the audience that really don't know, you're a CPA, you get the numbers, you get the balance sheets, income statements, and all the numbers and stuff. But before AI, that was a long process by hand and manually, and then you had Excel and you had different spreadsheets. But now you have AI. Can you give an example of what it would look like before and what it looks like after using AI? Can you think of a use case so people can really kind of get their arms around what they're hearing and what you're talking about?
Yeah, I work with a lot of business owners, and I've created a ChatGPT cheat sheet that I'll be happy to share with you, Donna, if you want to add to your podcast notes or something like that. for anybody who wants to use it. I think I want to start with, there's a video it's a 1-minute video that I show of Steve Jobs, and it was 1985. You know, Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. And he was in a room explaining to people why it's important to have a desktop computer, a home computer, because that was just crazy talk in 1985, right? So basically what he said is that he sees the computer as a new medium, just like radio, just like television. And then he explained the story about when television was created, that what people typically do is that they default to using it like the old medium. So he said for the first 20 years, what they were doing with television was essentially putting a camera in front of a radio show and then showing that on TV. And he said that this is a new medium and it's got to be treated and thought of differently. So here we are again with ChatGPT and other generative AI like ChatGPT, and it's a new medium, but what people are using it, they're defaulting back to the old medium. So they're treating it like it's a search engine, like it's Google or something like that. And they're just, so then they start using it and they're like, this isn't really that useful. It's kind of, gimmicky, when in fact, they're just using it wrong. So some of the use cases, one of the most basic use cases is using it to check all of your grammar. 100% of everything that I do has an AI complement to it. Everything that goes out into the world has, at the least, been checked for grammar and edited by AI. So, it's something as simple as if I'm writing an email, I'll write the email, I can copy it over to ChatGPT, say, review this, edit for grammar, and then just paste it, let it rewrite it, and then I, send the email out. I sound smarter than ever, Donna, and I also communicate better because it's far more clear what I'm saying. So first and foremost, that is one of the first things you should do. Now, you can use it for HR purposes. A lot of business owners use it for HR. You want to create a job description. You need to hire somebody. Takes seconds. Used to take, how long it ever took you. And if you didn't like doing that, then you would even procrastinate and take longer. But now it takes seconds to do it. And then once you get it out there on Indeed or wherever you're looking to get those resumes, you bring those resumes in. And another way to use it is you could copy the resume onto and paste it onto ChatGPT and instruct ChatGPT to review the resume and give me 5 questions I should ask in the interview. So, something like that is really useful because now you're getting even more relevant type of questions. And, creating documents and things like that are so easy. Another use case that people use it for are PDFs. If you have, let's say you have a 70-page PDF and you have to review it and you don't have the time, you could just upload that onto ChatGPT, say, summarize this for me, give me the 10 most important, points that I need to know about it. And then because it's already been summarized and it's read it's reviewed the whole thing, you could just ask it questions. Like I show an example where I uploaded this 84-page PDF. I ask a lot of questions. First of all, I asked it to summarize, then I ask questions. Then just to show off a little bit, I ask how many times does the word "the" show up in this PDF? 4,363, wow. And it, within seconds, it tells you that. That's the type of power. One more thing, because I could talk use cases all day long, but one more that just came out: real-time translation. So there's an app that goes along with ChatGPT where you could have voice-to-voice discussion. It's like having, you're the smartest personal assistant in your pocket all the time. And now you can have real-time translation. So let's say you're in a foreign country, you don't know the language. You can go to ChatGPT, go to the app and say, I need you to be the translator for me. I'm talking to this person. They know Spanish. I don't. Can you translate? And in real time, I can say what I want to say to ChatGPT. ChatGPT will say it in Spanish. Then the person responding will say it to ChatGPT and will translate to me. That can all
Wow.
that is now yeah, available.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is. And one other thing, when it comes to use cases, I could spend hours sharing use cases with you, but I will not be able to customize it to your needs. The only person that can do that is you. And the only way that you're ever going to get to that level of customization is getting started now, because you got to have that muscle memory. You got to get into the habit of saying, can I do this faster? Can I do this easier? Can I do this better with ChatGPT? To the point where it's just muscle memory, and you know that that's your first step, is to go right to ChatGPT.
So thank you for those use cases. So I do have a question in regards to more on the journalism side. When people utilize ChatGPT for journalism interviews or responses, sometimes I guess there are ways now in AI to know when it's written by ChatGPT. Have you encountered those experiences? And if you have, how did you work with that? What do people do, like in using ChatGPT? There's so many benefits, but then you have some organizations that want to know that you use ChatGPT to answer the question or to do the interview. I've just been telling people that you really need to modify the content yourself. You may utilize ChatGPT initially, but you still need to personalize it and make it your own. I think having you here would help me know if I'm giving the right information or not. What do we do?
Yeah, so the first thing is that there is technology that they've tried to use to determine if it was created by, say, ChatGPT. That's not very accurate. So it can say, it would say there's maybe a 70% chance that it was, let's say. So it's not going to be accurate. However, if you use ChatGPT enough, you start seeing when there's many times where I see something that was written that I know was ChatGPT, because ChatGPT likes to use certain words that most humans don't typically use, like the word delve, the word demystify. I see those words all the time with ChatGPT. I mean, it's just like, so you pick up on a couple of those things, and then I start thinking, well, you're just not trying, because there are ways. When I use it, I make sure it sounds like me. So there's different ways to do it. The first way is that the major newspapers, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they write at the 11th grade level, right? So all you'd have to do is ask ChatGPT to write something and then say, write it at the 11th grade level. And it's going to sound like a human. It's not going to sound like a robot, and it's not going to have all those fancy words in it. That is one way around it. Now, there's what's called custom instructions, which is a feature in ChatGPT where you can customize it to sound exactly like you. So all you'd have to do in custom instructions is get some writing that you've had in the past, put it on the custom instructions, and say, when I ask you to write something, write it in this style. And then you have your own, written stuff in there, and it's going to sound a lot more like you because of that.
Wow, that's exciting. So how can somebody figure out what are the best apps to use with ChatGPT? I've used a few. I had all those plugins and everything going on early on. But for someone who's new to ChatGPT that you may be speaking to today, how do they know what other apps to use, or what are the options in apps? Can you give us a few that you like? What do you prefer?
Yeah, so they used to have, like, right at the beginning, there were plugins, right? So you would go and get these plugins. Those plugins are dead. They're gone. ChatGPT assumed all of those plugins with what's now called My GPT. So these My GPTs, you can create a chatbot, an assistant, anything that you want within probably around 10 minutes. It usually takes 10 to 15 minutes, and you've created your own chatbot or assistant or task master of whatever it is. So, for example, like I have ChatGPT editing for grammar, right? I created a my GPT called Grammar Guru, so it already knows it's specifically made to edit for grammar, and then give me all of the changes that it made so I can learn from it. And now I don't even have to ask ChatGPT, please check this for grammar or anything like that. I just throw what I want on Grammar Guru. It already knows, it's instructed, it knows how to, that's what it's there for. And then it does. It makes the change that I want. I created one that I made, it's called Social Savvy, where it acts like a decades experienced social media specialist.
Wow.
So basically what it does is I craft a post, I put it on Social Savvy, and Social Savvy rewrites it with attributes that will help it go viral. Things like that. And then, I've created GPTs for all different types of tasks that I do, and it takes 10 minutes to make. Now, there's millions of them out there. So what I would suggest people who are getting started and want to, whatever your specialty is, whatever it is that you're looking for, if you want a GPT that's going to give you advice on what kind of recipes to make for tonight's dinner, they're there. If you want a GPT that's going to help you clean the stains out of your rugs, it's there. So what I would suggest you do is go to the GPT store, it's called. It's one of the features in ChatGPT. And then there's a search, and you just search the topic, and I guarantee there's millions already made. I guarantee there's one already there for you to try out.
So at the end of the day, anybody listening right now really could do their own chatbot. It's that simple.
ChatGPT essentially is but these chatbots. So basically, it's your own personal programmer. You don't have to program anymore. I'm not sure if people are familiar with NVIDIA, but that's a company that's very hot right now because they sell the chips that are used for this generative AI. And he said recently, he's like, if you have kids that are going to college, don't have them major in programming, because that is going to be assumed by generative AI. And that's basically what ChatGPT has, your own personal programmers that are building these basically chatbot apps for you.
So you've got a lot of experience with ChatGPT, and you've been there from the beginning. Is there anything that keeps you up at night, or you think about or wonder about based on what you've seen and learned and been exposed to?
Well, there's a famous story when the programmers were creating ChatGPT, they left for the night. They come in the next morning, and ChatGPT taught itself how to speak 20 different languages. And then the programmers were looking at each other, looking in the code. Nobody could figure out why. So that's both exciting and scary all at the same time.
Is that true? Is that a true story? Is that true?
That's a true story, yeah.
I heard it a couple of times. I wasn't sure if it was true, an exaggeration, or make-believe.
I heard it on a podcast, and you know what I should do, Donna, is go back to that podcast with the individual who was involved in that, so that I can actually cite it. And but it was true. It's a true story.
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah.
But that's the T part. So ChatGPT, chat, because when you start using it, you really do feel like there's a human on the other side of that screen. There's got to be, right? The G stands for generative. That's where the programming makes it sound human. But also the G is part of the reason why we get AI hallucinations, which we can get into if you want to.
Yeah,
the P stands for pre-trained, which is basically uploading all the knowledge of the internet. So it already starts off at being smart. And then the T is the transformer. So this is the algorithm that continues to train on everything that we're using it and prompting it and asking it and all of that. And that's the piece where, it learns from everything and everyone. So That is basically the T part is how it learned how to teach itself how to translate, speak different languages.
Mm.
So no, am I scared? I'm excited. I'm excited about the future. I don't expect a Terminator type of situation, and I do expect that this is going to be very exciting. Now, you can use it for the wrong things. Like there are stories just recently, like a few weeks ago, a teacher cloned the voice of a principal, the principal of the school, and then now he had the cloned voice, so basically could write anything he wants, and it could sound like the principal was saying it, and wrote all these and wrote it so that there was a lot of derogatory statements, racial different statements, things like that, and then it was discovered that this guy created an AI deep fake essentially, and now he's been arrested. That's the type of stuff that can happen. I'm more concerned with the humans that are using it versus, let's say, AI becoming sentient or something like that.
So, when you mention hallucinations, what's that? I hadn't heard that term
Okay,
before. I
so
think I know what you're saying, but I want to hear what you really mean.
yeah, so AI hallucinations, everybody should be aware of this. This is why you got to check everything that you use ChatGPT or any other generative AI. Any AI like ChatGPT is going to have a similar issue, and it's called AI hallucinations. So what is it? It's when it makes up information. There's a famous court. There last year, early last year. So this is like maybe ChatGPT is 4 or 5 months old. A lawyer used it for his court case, and ChatGPT cited 6 non-existent court cases. And then he used it in court and signed off on it. So he got in a lot of trouble for it. But why does that happen? Because of the generative part of GPT. So first of all, the 6 court cases, that was an AI hallucination. It was information that's not real, but was created by ChatGPT. The G part, the way the G part works, the generative programming, if there isn't information, if there's a gap of information, what the generative programming has been programmed to do is fill that gap with what it believes should be there. Okay. So what happened in this case was that the lawyer had instructed ChatGPT, find some court cases similar that I could use, to help defend this client. And ChatGPT couldn't find any. So the generative programming kicked in, because also the generative programming, it's like a cute little happy puppy dog that wants to please you all the time. So it's like, well, I can't find any. So this is what I'm going to do. I found a bunch that are similar. I'm going to take parts and pieces, and then I'm going to create brand new ones, because that's what I believe he wants. And of course, what did that lawyer not do? He didn't check the work. And that was his mistake. And so, next thing you know, you have AI hallucinations. Now they occur. They were occurring a lot more, a year ago, and I've seen them disappear. It continues to train and learn. You have to be sure that they're still out there. So you got to check everything. But as it continues to learn, it gets better and better at that as well.
So thank you so much for that. So how can everybody reach you? And is there any projects or anything you're looking at going forward? But how can people reach you, and tell us what's going on that you haven't told us? Any secrets that we might want to know? Otherwise, how can we connect with you?
Well, you can connect with me at, you can go to www.chatgphd.com, and you'll get to my website where I offer different AI services and things like that. As far as secrets, I think that the best advice I could give is for everybody to get started and just try it out. Start using it. Don't be afraid of it. That's what I think people tend to be concerned with, is that they're afraid to use it or afraid that information is going to get out there. I suggest that just start with all the easy stuff, the non-confidential type of information, and begin with that. Test it out. Writer's block is dead. You can create more than you've ever. You could create and speed up the process of any kind of documents, any kind of work. The CEO of OpenAI, which is the owner of Chat GPT, he said in a video recently, he said that we're probably 18 months or less away from the first 10-person, $1 billion valuation company. And he said, after that, he said, and I'm making bets with some of my tech friends as to when there will be the first one-person, $1 billion valuation company. And the reason why he's saying that is this generative technology is so powerful. You can do so much with so less. And that's what you have the opportunity to do. And, we don't have to think that big. Let's just think a little smaller. When he's thinking 10-person, $1 billion company, it certainly makes it easier to believe we could have a 2-person, $10 million company, right? And that's the approach I'm taking with my clients is let's utilize this to its capacity, to its ability, so that we could save time and money, and then take over from there. And we need to do this because it's getting better so quickly. It's going to disrupt every industry, Donna.
So that means all the consultants out there and the coaches and those that are solopreneurs that really feel like they're at a disadvantage sometime. This AI, generative AI, is really going to be able to save time, save money, and also increase the opportunities for income and revenue if they jump on it quick enough and utilize it appropriately in their best processes. And therefore, everybody wins with the new technology of AI. It's a win-win situation for the customer, it seems, for personalization. It's a win-win situation for the solopreneur or the big brands and corporations. So a lot of the scariness and the fear that people have on what's to come may be misfounded in some ways. That's what it sounds like. I know I've watched you. I've watched you and your classes and everything that's happening, and I have really been excited about the fact of Chat GPT PhD as you have, and everything that you're doing. I really appreciate you being on the podcast and sharing the information. If okay, we'd like to have you back so you can share with us any of the advances that take place in the future. I'm sure there's going to still be some advances in technology, and you seem like the person, Anthony, that's going to be right there in the middle of it, cheering and moving that needle on and leading on the leading edge of what's happening today in AI and emerging trends. So, Anthony, I heard that you were writing a book, or you wrote a book. The word on the street is it's a great book, but I don't understand how that took place. I've heard a couple of things. Can you give us some clarifying details on the book and how you did it and the benefits and what's going on?
Yeah, you were saying that it makes it easier for a business, a consulting firm that has 2 or 1 person to compete. It evens the playing field, this type of generative AI. In fact, I tested it out. I wrote and published the book in less than 24 hours. I just wanted to test it to see if I could do it. Now, the reason why I can do that now, and it's on Amazon Kindle, it's called the $5 Foodie.
Really? In 24 hours?
In less than 24 hours, and use Chat GPT and use some other AI. And that's the thing, is that Chat GPT is basically the gateway AI, so that you understand that there's all these other tools that are being built on it. So now you can create images in seconds. I can create images on a AI. I could do it on ChatGPT, but I could make even better images on an AI called Midjourney, where you don't know, Donna, that if that's a photo or if that was just generative AI. Text to image. It's that good. Mother's Day just passed. I wrote a song for Mother's Day for my mom. And that took me 30
Oh,
seconds.
wow.
I didn't tell my mom this, but that took me 30 seconds to do. I mean,
And
all
that
you
was
have
in
to
Chat
do.
GPT?
Now, these are other AI tools that are
Oh,
out there,
okay.
and this is why it's so important to understand ChatGPT, because then you start realizing, what else is out there. There's other generative AI tools. One I have is a transcriber where I have it linked to my calendar, and it pops up on Zoom calls or team calls or anything, and it transcribes the whole conversation, and then it filters it for me. It summarizes it for me. It filters in what type of questions were asked, action items. It also does a sentiment indicator where it tells
Wow.
me percentage of time it was a positive discussion, negative discussion, or neutral discussion, and then links to sound bites to all of that. I mean, that's the type of technology that is out there. My videos that I create, I have another AI called Opus Clip where I can just throw my video, my 1 hour video on there, let's say, and it will review the whole video and it'll cut it up into shorts based on what it feels is the relevant information. And within, I get an email 15 minutes later, it's done. And I could now use that for all different types of social media. There's so many of those out there. There's just so many opportunities out there to speed up your day, your life, to improve the value of your business, and to put you in different categories. Like I have a client who's writing a children's book. He has an Airbnb and he wants to write a children's book. It's really going to be a little bit of a novelty. And he can't find an illustrator to do it at a reasonable price. And it asked me. And so I told him there is AI that can do it. And I said, let's do it. So now I'm going to illustrate a book. I mean, I never have been able to do that before. And now with AI, you could do things that you've never done before, and it's easier than ever. It's an exciting time, Donna.
An exciting
And
time.
and in the future, I definitely would love to dive deeper into some of those for everybody who's listening in.
Well, I am just amazed that you did that book in 24 hours. I keep hearing about it, but now knowing somebody specifically that did it in 24 hours. And I've always been impressed by your training and everything that you brought to the table. I'm really going to check that out. Maybe I need to get mine going in 24 hours as well, because I keep putting it off, think it's going to be this big ordeal, and it's not. So is there anything else that you're working on you want to share with us now? Any suggestions, or are there certain businesses or entrepreneurs or industries that really benefit from AI more than others?
Any kind of AI that's text based. So again, really computer based.
Okay.
Anything that you're doing that's more computer based is probably more AI. This type of generative AI can really improve that business. And yes, really, I think to get started. And also just to be mindful that there are competitive AIs out there. Google has one called Gemini. Microsoft has one called Copilot. And there's a bunch of others. Facebook, Meta has one called Llama. So there's a bunch of other ones. And I highly suggest that you try a few of them. They all have free versions. And ask all of them the same question or the same prompt and see the answers you get, so that you can, learn to get comfortable with this technology. Plus, maybe you decide that there's one that you like better than the other.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that additional information, and you getting into the space of publishing. It sounds like you're going to be there illustrating, publishing, and doing so many new things with your business and your clients. So the best of luck to you and everything that you're doing. And
Donna, one more thing, and I'm sorry, I'll leave with this.
That's okay.
Because this is how I leave my presentation. I asked them. So I asked them, I want everybody to get a pen. That's what I said. Get a pen, and I want you to write on your notepad a 1, and then underneath that 1, a 2, and underneath that 2, a 3, right? And then I say, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer. And so the question is simply this. It's name the top 3 people in your field with your level of experience that knows as much as you about your industry that's leading the way in generative AI. And then I look up and I'm like, why are no pens going? Why is nobody writing it? Because there are none. It's so new, there are none. So then I say, now I want you to write your name in that number 1 category. You don't have to be the best at Chat GPT. You don't have to be the best at generative AI. You just need to be the best in your field. And that's what I suggest everybody do.
Wow, thank you. That's powerful. Just be the best in your field, and there's still time for you to start now.
It's early. Yes.
New. It's still early and it's new. So thank you once again. And I look forward to chatting with you soon about ChatGPT PhD or ChatGPT and the other generative AIs and everything that you're doing in your business with your clients and as you're leading the way here locally and I'm quite sure across the nation. So thanks so much, Anthony DeSimone. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody have a good afternoon, good evening, and a good day. Thanks for shaping tomorrow together. Thanks for checking in the Pivoting to Web3 podcast. Go to pivotingtoweb3podcast.com to download and listen, or Web3 Game Plan to check out the videos. Thank you. We're shaping tomorrow together.